Hi, this is attorney David Gibbs with the National Center for Life and Liberty. Churches across the nation have asked regarding how to reopen their church and begin holding in-person services again. Now, every state is taking a different approach to reopening church public gatherings and services, with extremes kind of on both sides. States like Florida, Texas, the Carolinas, North and South Carolina are allowing churches to freely meet with minimal interference. Other states, for example, Illinois, New York, Maine, California, are taking more aggressive positions to continue not allowing any type of mass gatherings, including worship services, with many of them talking about this going well into the summer through the end of July. On April the 15th, we published a video that discussed this topic, stating our recommendation was for churches to work towards reopening their public services between May the 17th through June the 30th, depending on a number of factors: the location of their church, the amount of COVID-19 in their area. Certain counties, for example, have had few, if any, cases of COVID-19, whereas other areas have been what you might call a hot spot with a number of cases. And churches have been following our recommendations, and the good news is that their actions to reopen have been met with very minimal resistance across the country, as they've been able to meet again in person and begin the reopening process without difficulty. Now, let me be very clear here. The NCLL doesn't tell pastors or churches what to do. Our goal is, as legal professionals, to provide good information to help you in your thinking, and then to help you understand your options so you can make good decisions for your church. And everyone's goal is to begin meeting again without putting yourself, your congregants, or your church in any jeopardy, because we are now watching nationwide where lawsuits are beginning to pop up. Not yet against the church, but businesses and healthcare organizations are finding themselves sued over COVID-19. Now, when it comes to the question of what your church should do, there's three main issues that I would encourage you to consider. Number one, what is best for my church? Now, this varies according to the location, the size, the scope, the nature of your ministry, the people in your church, the age of your church. This is a very individualized determination. But then number two, what mandates are in place in my state or locality? Obviously, if your church is violating a mandate or putting yourself in risk of citation or arrest, that's something that you for sure want to know. But then number three, and this is so important, what is the best testimony for my church? Once you determine what you believe is best and you understand the legal ramifications for those choices, you need to also think about the perception in your community. Your church's testimony will have far-reaching effects long after COVID-19 and this pandemic is in the rearview mirror of history, that you are going to have to minister in your community. Now, wisdom, when you're leading in times like this, it's very important that ministry leaders think about balance or moderation. There's a lot of hurting and depressed people that would even be moving towards anger. And it's important as church leaders that we show them wisdom and compassion, and that we have courage in what we're doing, but we do it in a way that shows them that we are indeed sensitive to what their fears and concerns might be. It's very important that you respect people on all sides of the situation, where you understand that there are some that would take a stronger approach towards health and safety, and others that would be pushing more for constitutional liberty and wanting to assert that. We've had many churches that have been able to open doors of ministry with local law enforcement just by having good precautions and a good spirit as they work through this process. So a lot of times when we're talking with church leaders, it's not just what you're doing, but my friend, it's so important how you do it. Now, I do want you to be aware, regardless of what the mandates may be in your region, you do have the First Amendment right to meet and to publicly worship. So I do want you to understand that your constitutional rights remain intact even in the middle of this pandemic. and that government officials have to treat you and your church fairly. Now, after you've determined what is best for your church in terms of resuming meeting in person, we are recommending you acknowledge that things are going to be a little different. It's not going to be like it was before the COVID-19 pandemic. So we're encouraging, number one, that you put precautions in place to keep people healthy. I've been coaching pastors and ministry leaders about thinking about from the car to the pew or the chair and back to the car, and how to get people in and out of the buildings with minimal contact, and having your greeters or your ushers or your staff with masks and other safety precautions, to arrange your building and your facilities for extra cleaning and social distancing. But very imperative, with the litigation risk looming, that you take steps to minimize the unnecessary spread of COVID-19. Number two, we're recommending that you publish a statement of waiver of liability. This can be on your screen. Many churches have dispensed with bulletins, or they're just having people pick them up. It could be there. It could be on your church's website. But basically having people acknowledge that attending church, they are assuming the risk of COVID-19, and that they're not going to hold the church responsible for the unfortunate contraction of the virus. But then number three, within your church, determine your strategy if there is negative fallout. Before the media shows up or law enforcement were to be there, make sure that you have a plan in place. Decide who's going to communicate, and make sure that you have a good, strong legal counsel at your side. Our ministry at the NCLL serves churches all across the nation, and we'd be honored to help you strategize how would you respond to some negative or to some critical actions against your church resuming meetings. Now, if you determine, and by the way, this is your decision, that your church is going to respectfully violate a state or local mandate, we do recommend that you take the following steps to best protect your constitutional rights and to minimize unnecessary liability. Number one, document all of the procedures that you're putting in place to keep your congregation safe. These procedures need to include before service and after service, the social distancing, the cleaning policies. You could well be put on trial, and what you can document will be key to your defense. Number two, we're recommending that you record the events or services, including the safety procedures. This is not just a film or video of the pastor or the music. This is the building where people are sitting. This can be on a camera. These don't need to be fancy videos, but again, you're documenting with video evidence what your church actually did. And then number three, please also record and document any interaction with the authorities. If you can videotape it respectfully, maybe have someone nearby with a phone. If you cannot, please write down everything while your mind is fresh and create a record. Very important that we have good information to provide an adequate defense for you and your ministry. Now, some people are seeing in the news that you can sue or go against government officials, and I've been asked by many good pastors, is it time to bring a lawsuit? At the NCLL, we've taken the position that if something occurs with local law enforcement or health authorities overstepping their constitutional bounds, that you should contact our office literally immediately. We have cell phone numbers that are available 24/7 to take calls, and we have been able to help many churches in the moment. We will stand by your church and defend your church's decision, and we will also file legally against any agencies that are trying to prohibit your church from exercising your First Amendment rights. But our recommendation is to file a lawsuit in reaction to behavior or problems, not preemptively. The legal action then is in response to a violation of your rights, and in our opinion, that gives you much stronger actions, even for money damages or attorney's fees, against the government than trying to do something preemptively. We've used this strategy across the nation, and it's worked extremely well with law enforcement and many government officials backing down completely. Now, as we're giving you this counsel and advice, please know at the NCLL, my job, Our legal team's job is to support your church as you, as the pastor and leadership team, make the best decisions for your church and the people, the members, those that come to your church, those that God has entrusted to your care. We don't want to tell a church what to do. We wouldn't be so presumptive. But we do want to provide options and advice to assist you in making the best possible decisions. In everything we do and say as believers, we represent the name we carry, the name Jesus Christ. At the NCLL, we believe that we're mandated as followers of Christ to take the right stand, the right way, with a right spirit. If we do this in a way that truly honors the Lord, it's our belief that He will indeed take care of everything else. Our prayers are with every church and pastor and leadership team as they're working through this unprecedented and incredibly complicated time in our nation's history. My friend, the world has never needed the church more than it does right now. And we have an opportunity to show them the hope that we have within Jesus Christ. The answer for America is not in the courthouse or the state house or the White House. My friend, it is in the church house. Let's make sure that our salt, that our light is shining brightly in these ever darker days. If you have any questions or concerns, our legal team would be honored to give you individualized counsel or coaching. We're just a phone call or an email away at the National Center for Life and Liberty. It's our honor to serve you.